Okay, continuing with the foreword. Page 16. At the same time, we shouldn't exaggerate the difficulties of Owen's prose when set before a certain sort of reader. His studied unconcern, okay, this is a quote again from Packer, I believe, coming up. His studied unconcern about style in presenting his views, a conscientious protest against the self-conscious literary posturing of the age, conceals their uncommon clarity and straightforwardness from superficial readers. But then, Owen did not write for superficial readers. I wonder if it's proper to drink coffee while I'm reading. I suppose it's not improper. Okay, continuing again. He wrote rather for those who, once they take up a subject, cannot rest till they see to the bottom of it, and who find exhaustiveness not exhausting, but satisfying and refreshing. Then there's an ellipsis, and it says, Owen's style is often stigmatized as cumbersome and tortuous. Actually, it is Latinized spoken style, fluent but stately and expansive in its elaborate Ciceronian style. When Owen's prose is read aloud as didactic rhetoric, which is, after all, what it is, the verbal inversions, displacements, archaisms, and new coinages that bother modern readers cease to obscure and offend. Those who think as they read find Owen's expansiveness suggestive and his fulsomeness fertilizing. End quote. That was a quote from J.I. Packer. I'm not going to give all the references and everything. I'm just going to attempt to read for whoever wants to hear. Maybe someone does. Page 17 of the preface. Reading Owen, a new option. Up until now, there have been two main options for those who want to read Owen's writings on sin and temptation. One could work through Volume 6 of the works of John Owen, as edited by William Gould in the late 1850s, or one could use a contemporary abridgment or paraphrase. In this volume, we are seeking to present something new, an unabridged but updated edition of Owen's three classic works that preserves all of Owen's original content, but seeks to make it a bit more accessible. In so doing, we hope to play a small part in reintroducing Owen to both the Church and the Academy. There's a footnote for that, but I'm just going to pass over it. Another paragraph. Features of this edition. What changes have we made in the original edition of Owen's works? We have bullet points. 1. Provided overview of the thesis and arguments for all three books. 2. Footnoted difficult vocabulary words or phrases at their first occurrence in each book and collected them into a glossary. 3. Americanized the British spelling. 4. Updated archaic pronouns. 5. Updated other archaic spellings. 6. Updated some archaic word forms. 7. Corrected the text in places where the 19th century edition incorrectly deviated from the original. 7. Modernized some of the punctuation. 8. Placed Owen's scripture references in parentheses. 9. Added our own scripture references in brackets when Owen quotes or alludes to a passage but does not provide a reference. 10. Transliterated all Hebrew and Greek words and provided a translation if Owen didn't provide one. 11. I hope. Translated all Latin phrases that Owen leaves untranslated. 12. Provided sources for quotations and allusions where possible. 13. I'm so confused. Removed Owen's intricate numbering system, which functioned as an extensive outline. 14. Added headings and italics throughout this volume and extensive outlines of our own at the end to aid the reader in following the flow of Owen's thought. As an example of the sort of limited modernizing that we have done to the text, the following is a reproduction of an original paragraph from Owen's The Nature, Power, Deceit, and Prevalency of Indwelling Sin, from his exposition of Revelation 2. The fame might also be showed concerning the rest of those churches, only one or two of them accepted. 5 of them are charged with decays and declensions. Hence there is mention in the Scripture of the kindreds of youth, of the love of espousals with great commendation, Jeremiah 2, 2 and 3, of our first faith, 1 Timothy 5:12, of the beginning of our confidence, Hebrews 3:14. It was rather difficult to read. I hope you can tell when the aside is from Jim and not from any of the authors. Anyway. And this is our edited version as it appears in this volume. The same also might be showed concerning the rest of those churches. Only 1 or 2 of them accepted. 5 of them are charged with decays and declensions. Hence there is mention in the Scripture of the kindness of youth, of the love of espousals, with great commendation, Jeremiah 2, 2 and 3. Of our first faith, 1 Timothy 5:12, of the beginning of our confidence, Hebrews 3:14. New section, a word about the structure. Readers will note that unlike in modern books, there are no chapter titles. Owen didn't assign any. Furthermore, the location of the chapter breaks can come across as arbitrary. As Packer said, Owen obviously carries the whole of his design in his head and expects his readers to do the same. Nor are his chapter divisions reliable pointers to the discourse. For though a change of subject is usually marked by a chapter division, Owen often starts a new chapter where there's no break in the thought at all. In fact, we believe that making the chapter breaks prominent can actually add to the confusion in reading Owen's work. For example, in the outline 4 of the mortification of sin in believers, you'll note that chapter 3 begins with Roman numeral 2. One option would have been to dispense with the chapter numbers altogether. We decided to retain the chapter numbers, but to make them less prominent, by placing them in brackets and not always at the beginning of a new page. This allows Owen's own outline to receive greater emphasis, and we believe it will aid the reader in following Owen's thought. As noted above, we have also taken Owen's original intricate numbering system and used it to create our own outlines in the back of the book. We encourage readers to use these outlines, paginated, for easy reference. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Paginated, to put page numbers upon something, where one can see his main points and the flow of his argument. Our prayer, although we desire to see an increased understanding of and appreciation for Owen's works in our day, our greater desire is to see fellow believers return to the biblical means of sanctification in their battle to overcome sin and temptation. All of us find within ourselves a law to the effect that when we want to do right, we discover evil within ourselves. Romans 7:21. Our prayer is that this book will be used of God to help us watch and pray against temptation. Matthew 26:41. So that by the Spirit we would mortify the deeds of the body. Romans 8:13. Soli Deo Gloria. And check time, 9 minutes.